this thing on?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Upshot, World Disc Golf podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield on this Wednesday, July 9th. I got Josh pretty good right there.
You got me so good. I feel so dumb.
We are back. Despite the rumors that we shut down the podcast because of Reddit criticism or something like that, we actually just took a week off and forgot to tell you on the main pod. So sorry. Subscribers got reacts both of the last 2 weekends, but we were away on vacation last week, and we're finally back and excited to lock in for what is going to be an awesome month of disc golf ahead. As you all know, Josh is heading over to Europe for the Estonian Disc Golf Festival and then Worlds. So, Josh, are you fired up? You got your tickets? You ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll. I fly out Sunday night. I'm stoked. It's going to be a great time.
Wow. Amazing. So much to talk about over the next few weeks. And today we're kind of playing catch up because we've been away and there's been some stuff going on, including a couple of very interesting tournaments the last 2 weekends. And we're going to be joined later by Paul Oman, who just won Masters Worlds in MP40 in an epic final round. If you haven't seen it, you got to go check it out. Insane. Aces the 10th and then birdies 7 straight to force a playoff and wins in a playoff after having like a pretty crummy round 3. Crazy.
Go watch it.
So we will get to that. But we also got to talk about these tournaments, and we got to talk about this drug testing stuff because we've missed the discourse on this, so we're catching up on everything today. Josh, where do you want to start? Because we have Discmania Challenge, we have PCS Open, which just happened this past weekend, and we have the drug testing stuff, and then we have the interview.
Yeah. Let's just start furthest back, work our way up.
I like it.
Let's start with Discmania. Let's get it out of the way. Now, again, as Charlie pointed out, even though we were on vacation, we still recorded rapid reacts on Sunday nights. So if you're not a subscriber, I mean, you can go get an hour of coverage on the Discmania Challenge that we already took care of. I was in Mexico at the time. I was enjoying nice weather.
Josh was a champ.
It was great. So go check that out. The unpickable Ezra Aderhold wins his first DGPT event, as well as Cadence Burge. So much has happened in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, Cadence won like 10 days ago.
What a horrible time for us to go on vacation.
Really
You're like, like a couple lead-up tournaments before the major, like, it's going to be Kristen Fest, whatever, like, psych.
Nope. 2 first-time DGPT winners at the Discmania Challenge, formerly the Des Moines Challenge. And, man, like, really exciting stories on both divisions. Charlie, which one do you want to start in?
Well, I actually want to talk about Ezra. Okay. I mean, I think Cadence is an awesome story, and they feel like equally interesting to me. But Ezra has been, obviously, he's a volatile player, hence the like unpickability, right? We've been talking about how like we both have picked him multiple times this season, and we get -1s because he just have a week where he's like 50th, and then he'll have a week where he's like right there on the podium. But the story about Ezra's career has been that when he is in contention, when he is on the lead card on the final day, he shrinks. He no-shows. He struggles to execute, you name it, right? And it's been a problem, but not this time. Even though he had some adversity in that final round, he had that stretch in the late end of the front 9 where he didn't get a birdie. He took a bogey, and it felt like, like is this wheels coming off for Ezra again? And then he settled back in, and he got 5 birdies in the next 6 holes, and just looked overall like the best player on the weekend. And he didn't have the best round in that final round, but it was good enough given the lead that he had to close out a comfortable win. And it just feels like he's deserved to win. He's been one of the better players on tour that doesn't yet have a win. And so awesome to see him come through and take one down. A really feel-good story. I think a lot of people are big fans.
Yeah. And it really is one, and I talked a little bit about this on the Rapid Reacts. When I think of Ezra, there are some things that he does really, really, really well. It really reminds me of the interview that we had with Kevin Jones like 4 years ago, when Kevin talked about the fact that he throws every disc on the same angle and then just changes his discs to manipulate it. Ezra has like a selection of shots that he does exceptionally well, and he's very disciplined. And I think that comes both like you in a reflection. All right, let's get it out of the way. Ezra's jacked, right? There is a level of personal discipline in order to maintain that level of health that I very clearly translate to his game. But there are other elements. It sometimes feels a little bit like robotic almost, or like it's very procedural for him. And it doesn't always feel like he's playing golf. And it really felt like he kind of changed this mindset. He didn't fall apart. He didn't melt under the pressure, and very much created this idea of like elevating above all those things that have held him back. And it felt like he was executing his shots, making smart decisions, kept his head on his shoulders, and was a golfer this weekend. And that's a really big turning point for Ezra.
It was great to watch. And he played some just really rock solid disc golf the whole weekend. Opened up with a 1082, 12 down, bogey free, and played well in like tougher conditions, generally like lower scoring in round 2. And like just bounced back from mistakes. That feels like the biggest thing. I feel like sometimes he tends to spiral, and that didn't happen this weekend. Like round 2 took some bogeys, bounced back with a lot of birdies. Yeah. Round 3 did the same thing under the pressure of the final day lead card.
Yeah.
And it just it feels like he's capable of this kind of play, at least on certain courses, on a more regular basis. And you got to think this could ignite the confidence to go out there and shoot well on a more regular basis.
Yeah, it has to. And having been so close, having been performing at a high level, he gets to take his name now off of one of the best players without a wins. And
then he goes out and shoots 42nd at PCS Open. So he's still unpickable.
Right. Yes, that unpickable does not mean can't win. You clarified that.
It doesn't even mean you're bad. It just means that it's too risky.
It's just I'm not willing to take those negative points. Yeah, yep. Absolutely.
He crossed 1030 in the ratings update. I'm guessing he's not quite at an all-time high.
Okay,
he was 1033 in the middle of 2023, but back to close to his all-time high rating. We'll hit the ratings updates news after our interview with Paul Oman. But overall, entertaining. Adam Hammis, monster final round to jump up 12 spots into second, and like legitimately put pressure on the leaders from whatever card he was on. What card was he on?
Fourth card.
And he almost he put himself in a position with a 1096 rated round 3 to potentially go to a playoff. And we'll talk more about Adam in a moment because he's having a heck of a season.
Chainsaw cadence.
Wow.
Buzzing through competition.
Crazy. Kind of surviving a bumpy final round. And got 3 important birdies down the stretch, 15, 17, 18, after having a miserable middle of the back 9.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically admitted, she was like, I felt like I was falling apart.
She was falling apart. I mean,
she was falling apart.
Disc head on the hands, crying.
Brutal.
Brutal. It was emotionally gut-wrenching to watch that final round because she's playing well. She's in the lead. Holland is like, hey, how about 7 down through the front 9? Best number one American player. Nice to meet you. Right?
Absolutely cooking.
Goes
8 down
honestly
through 11.
Is it? I think it's 9 down through 11.
You're right.
9 down through 11. 9 down through 11, and you're like, well, there it is. Like Holland's gonna put one for the ages up, and that's gonna be wraps. And as soon as cadence starts just melting in 12, 13, 14, you're just like, oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Because you've seen this from her. And it was devastating.
And you're going up against a player who knows how to win and has been doing it. And you're a super young player who's been in these spots to an extent, but never really like fully in a position to win. And then holds up down the stretch, like throws great shots and puts pressure on Holland on 18. And then Holland kind of like after going OB has to go for broke, ends up, taking a monster triple bogey. But like Cadence was able to stabilize and force Holland to make shots on 18. And then Holland didn't execute. Now, I don't think you can put it all on 18 because Holland had a chance to probably win this tournament with a couple more birdies before that.
If she didn't have to go, because to your point, right? Imagine for a minute that Holland birdies 16, right? Or 15. We'll say 15, right? Cadence birdies 15, Holland does not. They both par 16, and then they both birdie 17. If Holland has one more birdie, she doesn't have to go for that forehand. Her drive was too long, and she's pinched up off the corner, and so you need to throw it higher and spikier, but there's a tree in your way. On the green, you've got the Guardian that makes it so you can't do that. So Holland flattens it out a little bit too much, drives it long. If in a world where Holland is tied, or Holland has a stroke on Cadence, you don't have to go for that. You can accept that you're going to a playoff, and that, sorry, you're rated at the time 26 points more than her. Like, you take that. If you're Holland, you say, yeah, take me to the playoff, right? Great. Let me go to this playoff. But because she slowed down just a little bit at the end, and it's hard to say, because she shot 6 down, assume that, pretend she plays for par on 18 and it's now 9 down, right? So a 6 down was 1,006. She really shot a 9 down, 1,015, 1,020 somewhat rated round. Hard to fault her for saying, get one more, Holland. But one more, and that whole 18 is completely different.
Completely.
But it also required Cadence to throw the shot of the tournament on that upshot, that nice, slow turning mid shot to put it right next to the basket. Like, it was a really spectacular hole 18. Really spectacular.
And Cadence, not only does she win, but she is now 970 rated. 970 rated.
Jumped 5 rating points this update.
Yo. Like, where was she? Okay. At the beginning of this season, somebody emailed and was like, watch out, Cadence Birch. She's going to be a monster. And I was like, get out of here. Too young, too soon, blah, blah, blah. She was 951 rated as of December. 20 points up. And it doesn't feel wrong. I mean, the level has been there to support this. So that's a new member of the 970 club. And again, we'll hit more rating stuff and talk about where she fits into the bigger picture of FPO ratings later. But look, you can't be surprised by Cadence winning.
No.
She's been the best young player on tour this season. Not close.
Above Silva?
Does Silva count as a young player at this point? I guess.
Okay. I think so, but I see your...
Maybe I say the wrong thing. Young is maybe not the right descriptive term.
Okay, okay.
Rookie, new touring player.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Because I hear you. Silva's been better overall, for sure.
Okay.
But Silva's also now veteran, quote unquote. Not really. Like 2 years on tour.
Jesse, where's the article? How old is Silva?
I know. It's coming. The new How Old Is Everybody article is coming.
The most important article that Ultiworld publishes every year.
So yeah, I mean, I what can you say? Like, Cadence has been absolutely fantastic and still has so much room to grow. That's what I'm most impressed by. Like, adding shots to her game how good could she be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and she's about to go to Europe on a big Europe trip to do the 2 majors and Krokle this weekend. Mm-hmm. And she's 18 years old.
What a crazy evolution of the sport that we're at.
And wait till we get to talking about all these young European players who are like flying up the ratings board.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep it moving.
Okay.
More on Discmania Challenge in our rapid reacts. We move now to this past weekend's PCS Open. I've lost my
welcome back.
There it is.
Welcome back to the tour, PCS.
Welcome back to the tour. Great course.
Glad to have you back.
I really enjoyed commentating this course, whatever it was, 2-3 years ago now.
Oh, yeah.
When I went over to Europe, and a great trophy, sick course, like an awesome variety of shots required. Wooded holes, big bomber holes, the tractor finisher.
Elevation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
shot shaping.
The best of Europe is just what a treat.
What a treat.
Krokl is
I can't wait for Krokl this weekend.
It's spectacular.
Yeah.
Adam Hammes wins another tournament this season after winning Waco. He's in the midst of his best season of his career. He wins by 2 shots over first-time DGPT start Mio Hamalainen from Finland, who's got to be on your major watch coming up this weekend. And then big log jam and tied for third. Daniel Davidson, Kevin Jones, Sullivan Tipton, Lauri Lettinen, Jesse Nieminen, and Gannon Burr, all tied at 20 down, 3 shots back. So Adam Hammes continues his excellent play this season, Josh.
Definitely. We were talking definitely his best career season yet. A couple of wins, podiums. Adam will still put up bad tournaments. He is not as consistent as some of the other players, but in terms of wins, we were talking he's in top 15? Was that our number that we had come to?
Yeah.
Top 15
in career Elite Series wins.
Yeah. So he is flying up. And when you look at like active players, it's crazy to think about, but Adam Hammes is like top 6, top 5, like when it comes to those wins and level. And it's easy because he's not on coverage every single week. I think it's easy to kind of forget for a little bit, but he really has been a top player. And I remember, which year was it? I have this memory of like Calvin and Adam battling it out. I think it was at a Hall of Fame Classic back in like 2019. It was pre-COVID, and thinking like, okay, here it is. Like these are the young guys, right? These are the future faces of the sport. And I think it took Adam a little bit longer to kind of blossom into this competitor that we're kind of seeing on a more regular basis being at the top than I expected. But boy, has he arrived.
Yeah. And, somebody hot taked in our rapid reaction said that he's easily been the best Discraft player this season.
Bad take.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Barella has objectively been a better player this season.
Yes.
And has objectively has a higher ceiling, I think.
Yep.
But Adam's growth mentally as a player is clear to see. You go back, I'm not going to get the date exactly right, 4 years. He shoves the camera out of his face. Says, don't point that shit at me or something like that.
Okay.
And he would tilt on the course.
Yep.
He has really steadied the ship from a mentality perspective, and you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
And I think it has led him to less volatility within a round when he makes mistakes. And so much of this game is mental for these guys. Like, they all have incredible skill. And Adam's ability to bounce back from errors has really improved. And I think he is now clearly in that echelon of player where you think they could win any weekend.
Yes.
He has the skills and the tools on both backhand and forehand and putting that there's nothing that's stopping him from winning besides his current form. But when he's in form, he's showed you now that he is clutch as heck. Like he's buried the big putts with, a 60-footer to force a playoff. Like he's done these big moment shots and he's closed out tournaments down the stretch. And that's why he's in this list of players who's got a bunch of wins.
When you were saying going back to a couple of years ago with Adam Hammes' mental game, I thought of the time that he had a putt that he had missed. I think he missed it short. and he goes up and he grabs the putter and chucks it in the basket, and it bounced out.
Yes.
And then he had to
You
drop
were thinking
it back
of a different
in.
story than me.
I was. You're like, oh, yeah, I remember this time. And I'm like, oh, I know what story's coming, right? I know. It's not a good sign that we have multiple stories that highlight Adam Hammes going on tilt because his mental game was clearly the weakest part of his game. I think that Adam still can, and not in nearly the same regard. If he has bad rounds, bad tournaments, he can start to spiral. But I was really encouraged. What's really encouraging to me about Adam actually isn't even PCS. It's Discmania Challenge, where he's out of it and then is able to charge back in, because too many times we've seen Adam just like phone it in after has a bad round 1 or a bad round 2 and pulls himself out of contention. He has the skill set to win from 4th card. He could do it. He could shoot hot enough. And for him to have that recognition and to keep himself in the game all the way down the stretch, to me, might be the biggest symbol that Adam's mental game is better than it's ever been, and he is a serious threat when we go to these European majors.
Yeah. I will not be shocked if he wins his first major this season. I'll say that. How about Mio Hämäläinen?
Oh. Speaking of young Europeans that you better watch out for.
He's still junior. I don't know exactly how old he is. We'll have to wait for the article, but he has to be 18 or younger. And I mean, these young Finns are coming, man. They are coming, and we've been seeing more of it popping up in FPO, but I feel like that's more of a factor of the smaller field size and kind of like concentration issue. But like, Mio's already won Prodigy Disc Pro Tour events this season.
Yep.
So like, he won some
real quick,
C2
Charlie.
or whatever. Yeah.
Age thing really fast. In 2022, he was playing MJ15.
Right.
So the oldest he could be is 18.
Correct.
That is the oldest.
He wins Rovaniemi Prodigy Disc Pro Tour. He actually finished second at the European Junior Disc Golf Championship this year behind Eto Tuominen, who won by 10 shots. I think Tuominen was the highest rated player in the field. Yes. So
rated 20 points above.
Yeah.
Mio, right?
But like, this is what I'm saying. Like, these guys are coming, and
they're
don't
coming.
be shocked if we see some top 10s from 18, 19-year-old Finns at these European majors.
Right.
Because
yes,
they're here. So, look, like, we don't need to start saying these guys are the next big thing, but keep an eye. I mean, it's very impressive to play that well in your first Pro Tour start against many of the world's best players.
Yeah, a loaded field. Field. And Charlie, like, there are guys on here. If Mio or Daniel Davidson won, well, okay, if Mio won a major this year, like, most surprising story since
if a non-Nicholas or Simon European pro wins an MPO major, it would be shock.
It would be shocking. But here's the counterpoint I want to provide to that. Daniel Davidson has been competing at these loaded MPO fields and consistently performing on the podium. Lauri Lehtinen came back and is like, oh, by the way, I might be just as good as Nicholas, right? And we're like, oh, shoot, sorry, Lauri. Like, forgot about your game, right? Jesse Nieminen has won a Pro Tour event. These are guys who are all on the podium against the best players in the world. It is 3 rounds. I get that they've got to do 5. I get that it is a different level of stakes. But there's something about playing in front of a home crowd with a bunch of guys who have been hitting the podium regularly against the best competition that disc golf has to offer. And I completely agree. If the name isn't Nicholas or Simon, I'd be shocked. But there are Ani Rusanen. I remember him at a European Open not that long ago, showing up and us going, okay, we need to learn about the Anis, right? That's Nestori Tukkanen. Those are names I recognize. Those are names. Oh, there's people that we have seen perform well. Look out, Americans. You better not be complacent, because there are some top European talent. They're going to be there this year.
No doubt. All right, FPO.
Real fast, Charlie. There's one thing I have to add before you hype. I put the hand down. Chill. But there's one downside.
I'm chilling, Josh.
If a European wins Worlds, we still can't say that a European MPO has won on American soil.
That's true. But you know what? It's for the best. Europe.
It's for the best. No, it is. It is.
While.
I think it would be amazing. I just think it's funny that the caveat we always say is, winning on American soil. That still doesn't happen. So, Charlie, put the hand back
won't
up.
need an asterisk. This is
no. This is not an asterisk. Absolutely,
everybody going.
Not. Yes, everybody is going. Okay.
I haven't seen a player that's not of relevance that's not playing Worlds.
Yeah.
Paul Oman was like, you know what? I just got a $6,500 check.
Right.
I'm going.
Yes.
I'm spoiling a little bit, but
sorry, everybody. But no, you're no asterisk. I just think it's funny we still can't say that if they win. Okay, hand back up. FPO.
Hand back up, FPO. First of all, new nickname alert. We haven't talked about it on the main show yet, but
we had to workshop it. We had to make sure.
We workshopped it a couple of weeks, and we're ready to go.
Yep.
Sunshine Salonen taken down another one, 3 straight for Evelina, and Kristen fell apart. Final round, just completely fell apart. 2 over, one of her worst rounds of, like an irrelevant situation this whole season. Mm-hmm. And Sunshine Salonen coming through, Josh.
Yep. There's no lead that can reach beyond the rays of Sunshine Salonen. Sunshine Salonen puts together a great round, and Charlie, let's say it. Let's say the thing that we keep saying, that we've said for years and continues to be true. Evelina putted okay, and if Evelina putts okay, the rest of the field should be terrified.
No doubt.
That's all it takes. All you need is Evelina to putt okay, and you have a top player who right now is playing the best disc golf of anybody in FPO.
Love it. I'm trying to get to Sunshine because it was from a subscriber.
Yes,
but now I'm not seeing.
Was it? I thought it was Casey. Was it Casey?
Was it Casey?
That's what I thought.
Oh, wait a minute. No, hang on. I got to go further back. I understand.
Okay.
It was Casey.
It was Casey. Okay.
Correct. Flowing blonde hair, positive attitude, can throw it a mile but can't make the pitch. Rides the bench in the first part of the season but comes in clutch when the opportunity arises in a big moment. Wins the title.
Inspired from Sunshine on Remember the Titans.
There you go. And then somebody else. Sisu Sunshine, with Sisu being the very idiosyncratic Finnish word meaning ferocity, determination, and grit. That one comes from YR Trees. But I think we're just going to stick with Sunshine Salonen. I feel like it flows well.
Yep.
Let us know what you think.
Someone else also pointed out, she's just so happy, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great fit. It's a great fit. It really is a great fit. So we'll see what the people think. And we hope to coin another nickname here on the Upshot. So ultimately, Evelina wins by 3 shots over Anniken Sten and Kristen Latt. Kristen, I mean, people were like, I'm not going to watch because she's up 6 strokes after round 2. And I understand that. Like, you can't possibly expect Kristen to come out there and have 5 bogeys and a double and only 5 birdies. I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. It's been just a kind of a weird season for somebody who's playing so well and is clearly still so good.
Right.
And, continues to be on the podium. Like, her only podium miss is a 6th place finish at U.S. Women's. Otherwise, she's been 2nd or 1st at every single tournament. Right. So you feel like you're like nitpicking, but when you blow a 6-shot lead, it feels like she got Kristened by Evelina.
Yeah, right. Well, Charlie, let me ask you this: how many times do you remember that Kristen has had the most birdies in the field and hasn't won?
I would have guessed that the answer is 0 times.
Now, I know she's won, and in fact, I'm willing to say that the opposite's probably true in a lot of cases where Kristen doesn't have the most birdies but still wins because, you know, Evelina or Henna are getting tons of birdies, but they're also pairing it with bigger numbers, or like Ella, for example, right? Just players with dominant arms, dominant throwers who also sometimes can't keep it between the sticks, right? Kristen, that's not Kristen. It's not Kristen to have 9 OB strokes and have the most birdies in the field and still not win. When I went over to the statistics, I was shocked. I really was. I was shocked. I was like, I almost didn't believe it. In order to get down to OB strokes, the next person who has more OB strokes than Kristen was Henna, down at 14th, who finished +6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We just a little off.
A little off.
I feel like her whole career, she's had these sort of off rounds. Mm-hmm. She feels like they've been amplified at times this year relative to the past, like doinking short putts and stuff like that.
Right.
Again, the overall quality is still so high that, you know, she's only missed the top 2 one time this whole season. Like, don't get it twisted. I think this is a great buy low spot, right? I haven't seen odds for the majors yet, but like, if you're seeing Evelina as the favorite and Kristen is at +110 or something, like, you got to take the money. You got to take the odds and bet Kristen there, because this is a good buy low spot. But you know, as I said on the reacts, I'm not going to start worrying about Kristen until the majors. Like, if she goes 0 for 2,
time to worry.
And Evelina wins another one here, then you're like, okay, like, who's actually the best player in the world right now?
It's crazy to say.
Right?
I can't believe, like, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It feels crazy that we are less than 2 years removed from Kristen completing a season Grand Slam, calendar Grand Slam. And we are here saying, look at the pressure that's going to be in these next 2 events, especially with the first major ever in Estonia, our home country.
Kristen drops to 998 rated with the update.
Oh no, I'm devastated.
I don't think they're going to make a commemorative disc for this one.
Probably not, but still, I mean, the highest rated player in the world by 7
and still
points.
the world number 1.
Yes,
still the world number 1.
Don't write the obituary.
I'm not going to overreact to one Elite Series event.
However, she comes out and shoots a stinker at round 1 at the major. You bet we're overreacting.
We're gonna go crazy in the reacts.
That's right.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really have that much more to say about Evelina, besides the fact that she's throwing the disc magnificently, as probably as good as she ever has.
Yep.
And the putting is sufficient.
Evelina could absolutely win Worlds again. She could go
100%. 100%. How she's won 3 in a row.
Yep.
What more do you need to see? Clearly she can do it. And she won Worlds last year with horrendous putting.
Right.
She's putting better than that, I think, by the eye test right now. Okay. WADA. Drug testing.
Yep.
So the PDGA comes out and announces that they're going to be drug testing under the Finnish rules during Worlds. And now I'm trying to find all the articles on this stuff, and of course,
so I've got it up, Charlie. I could read this. Let me read this part. Yeah. So they say, let's share details and explain why it wasn't shared earlier. I think that's been a big problem, is like people didn't know until a month before.
Right.
So first,
and let's talk about why this is relevant, right? So like, if a player is using steroids and they get popped for using steroids, I don't think anybody's going to be mad about that. Like, you're going to have to expect that you can't use steroids. But the weed, people are worried about the weed. Obviously, you know, what's the percentage? I would guess at least 35% of top touring pros use cannabis regularly.
At least
whether they use it during rounds or not,
sure.
that I don't know. I'm not going to try to speculate on that. But there are players who definitely play under the influence.
Yes. Yep.
So that is why, and of course, if you're a weed user, you know this. The chemicals stay in your system for like 30 days, maybe longer, depending on how much you use and what kind you use. But it's very easy to fail a drug test, especially if you don't have any notice until a couple of weeks before the tournament. So go ahead, Josh.
Okay. So here are the notes. PDGA notes that they cannot override the duty of a national association to comply with their country's anti-doping requirements. Finland has the Finnish Center for Integrity in Sports is requiring, and they are the ones who have a prohibited substance list and require the drug testing. Now, it is important to note, and this is a really big bullet point on here, a positive test will not result in removal from the event, but it may result in post-event consequences being levied by FINCIS, the Finnish Center for Integrity, and the Finnish National Association. For example, a test indicating the use of anabolic steroids could result in a 4-year suspension. A test indicating in-competition use of THC could result in a 3-month suspension. So, at worst, if players have a positive drug test for the use of THC, they are going to be banned from Finnish competition for 3 months.
What is the name of this article, and why can't I not find it on the PDGA.com?
I don't know. It's titled. I'll put the link for you, Charlie, and we can make sure to link it for the folks at home.
It's like they're hiding it. Maybe they are hiding it.
Maybe they are.
Maybe I'm just not seeing it because
article title is Update on WADA Testing at 2025 Pro Worlds. It's under 2025 PDGA Pro World Disc Golf Championships WADA Testing Notification.
Maybe it's only on the PDGA Worlds page. It's not on the front page of the PDGA. Maybe
no. Yeah,
because they don't
want to draw more attention.
They don't want the press.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for putting it in the chat.
You're welcome.
And so basically, you could get suspended in Finland,
right, for
competition. I honestly wonder whether they're even going to do that because, This was definitely a bit of a blunder by everybody involved. If you're going to start testing for marijuana, why are we testing for marijuana in the first place? I understand that there's an argument to be made that using marijuana during competition could potentially provide some sort of benefit to the player through arguably reduced stress or something, when you're trying to make pressure putts. I am skeptical that there's any performance enhancing nature, but you could make the case. And I'm certainly not going to complain if the rule is you can't use weed during competition. Sure. And if we test you and you're under the influence, you're going to be kicked out of the event. Okay, fine.
Is there a reliable test of being under the influence at the time?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think
I don't know. I don't know, actually, but I don't think so. It's not like you can do a sobriety test the same way you can with alcohol, a breathalyzer type thing.
Not as far as I'm aware, but anyway.
So if you refuse to test, you get 4-year suspension. So you can't say no, and you might get popped, and you might get this sort of slap on the wrist. I think the bigger problem is for people who are using ADHD medication that is prescribed to them, because that does have a performance enhancing benefit, right? If you're taking ADHD drugs that
aren't prescribed to you,
no, that are, right? So if you're taking ones that you're prescribed for, right, you have to go through this whole process of saying that I have this therapeutic use exemption.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm using this because it was prescribed to me. I need this because I have this condition, and I need to take Ritalin or Adderall or whatever because I have ADHD.
Yes.
It's paperwork. It's annoying. But I will also say, if you're taking those drugs off label, right, or not without a prescription, that does clearly have performance enhancing benefits. So that's essentially cheating. So I don't really have a problem with people getting in trouble for that either. Ultimately, we need to prepare ourselves for the reality that drug testing is going to be a part of disc golf. And I think what we need to try to figure out is like whether cannabis should even be involved in this drug testing protocol. And I feel like the PDGA should probably have some ability to influence that long run. I mean, this is just mostly a very like in the United States at this point, and certainly in Canada, but who cares?
Yeah.
It's legal most places.
If I've got a couple of things that I've looked up, and I have a little bit more data for you, Charlie. So first and foremost, you can detect recent use, but they say that it's up to 12 to like it's accurate. It can detect from 12 to 24 hours using oral fluid tests and blood tests. So that would mean if you smoke weed the night before, there is a chance that an oral or a blood test would come the same as if you did right before the round. So
and those are very different things.
Those are very different things. There are some limitations on that, unlike with alcohol, for example, right? I think that's part of the difficulty with it. Urine tests, which are the most common for like drug testing purposes, are the ones that stay in for weeks to about a month. Apparently, hair tests do 90 days. They can tell. I just pulled up WADA's website to look at their prohibited list, and according to WADA, the prohibited list of substances lists cannabinoids under their in competition list. So they have three breakdowns. They have all times, in competition, and in particular sports. And so according to WADA, it's only in competition that you cannot be using cannabinoids. And so I'm interested to see how this drug testing is going to take place, what kind of suspensions they levy if they are unable to determine whether or not they truly are under the influence during a competition as opposed to prior, because according to WADA's own website, that should not be an offense that would be a violation of an anti-doping rule.
I will say, I've been saying since the news came out and people started freaking out about it, that it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. Like, they're not trying to come out here and be like, oh, the ban hammer on the people who smoked weed last week.
Right.
That's not the intention. And I highly doubt that's what's going to happen. Like, even if they had the power to say, you know, this level of THC concentration in your bloodstream means that you might have used within the last 2 days or something like that. They're not, the goal is not to just start slamming down punishments on people. There's no way that's going to happen.
Right.
So, and if it does, I'll eat my words and I'll say I was wrong and that like this was a complete disaster.
Oh, and boy, are we
not being prepared for this possibility. And like they're already, you know, acknowledging. And this again, this is a very specific country-based thing.
Right.
Like,
right.
But we need to have anti-doping testing in disc golf. It's happening. The World Games is coming up. They definitely have drug testing protocols.
Yep.
And like we just need to prepare for this reality. And I think the real key is like what do we want to have banned in disc golf? Like what counts as like we need to have things that like shooting sports, right? Like what's that called in the Olympics where you like ski and then shoot?
Isn't it the biathlon?
Biathlon, I think that's what it is, right? Like things that slow your heart rate, things that make you more calm. There's all kinds of drugs people could take to improve their performance in disc golf. And, you know, I'm not really sure that anabolic steroids is something that's going to help you too much, right? Like,
yeah.
It's an argument for like recovery time being faster. And I don't have a problem with them banning steroids, but I think it's just like, we need to figure out what we care about as a sport, like what feels like cheating in our sport, and worry about that, and work with the various federations and testing people to kind of
say,
line
hey,
that
look,
thing up.
we have our policies. And it is noteworthy. They've been informed of the potential to test. They might not even test.
Right.
They say in this updated article from the PDGA, finally, we owe you an explanation and apology. Plain and simply, we should have anticipated this potential outcome. However, after years of PDGA major competition in Finland, without anti-doping testing, we became complacent. That's it, right? So that they never thought about it. And then the Finnish national organization was like, oh, we're having a world championship for a sport here, a sport that's a massive sport in Finland.
Drug testing.
Test it. Drug test.
Yep. We'll see how it goes. I think it's mostly going to be fine in the end.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, freshly minted Masters World Champion Paul Oman joins the pod. And after that, we will quickly run through picks and Pursewatch, and then we'll be back with you tomorrow with some more exciting stuff. We'll tell you about that after the break as well. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Hope you had a chance to grab one of the Deluxe Rufus 4th of July special editions. They're already sold out, but look at these beauties. Red, white, and blue with the stars and stripes. They also donated a portion of the sales to NAMI Multnomah. The mission is to improve the quality of life for people living with a mental health condition, and that's the National Alliance on Mental Illness that offers one-to-one peer support for veterans. So veterans and military service members getting access to that, so they wanted to support the veterans, and so shout out to Pound for that. But they did sell out very quick. Rufus is all sold out right now, but you can always get yourself a custom Rufus, and you can get yourself a brand new 2025 Octothorpe. They're shipping right now. Octahauls will ship sometime this month is the estimate. So if you get your Octahaul in order now, hopefully you'll have it by August 1st. Go over to PoundDiscGolf.com and check out all the options, and shout out to Pound for all the great things they do for the community that they live in. Joining us now on the Upshot is the freshly minted MP40 World Champion Paul Oman. Welcome to the podcast, Paul, and congratulations on the win.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, I have to address this immediately. For those who are watching on YouTube, they will have already noticed this. Directly behind you, we have the T sign for hole 10. Did you automatically get the T sign when you ace? How does that work?
No, I don't know if you can see it, but the guy that sponsored the hole, Eric Bush, came up after the round and graciously handed me the T sign of the hole that I aced. So I thought that was very cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, nice.
What a tournament. Many already calling this the round of the year, and that I said this on our subscribers only podcast. Mahmoud Barani, the head producer at DGN, texted me, I don't know, Sunday or Monday, and was like, that's the best round of the year, and nothing else is going to come close in MPO or FPO. How was this final round from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I guess after everything was said and done, I knew that it was pretty special. But during the round, just trying to navigate the fairways at BRP and do the best I can. I'm not really thinking about how good I'm doing. I'm just trying to focus hole by hole, shot by shot, what's going on in the round. But
sorry, go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead. I think that's
okay.
I think that's awesome.
So you talk about this idea of going shot by shot. You're on the chase card, so you are not playing with these leaders. And Dutch and Kale, they're all on, and Joe Revere, they're all on lead card. You are not watching what's going on the card. Are you checking scores? Are you aware how close you are, how things are going, or are you kind of when did you become aware of how well you were doing?
Honestly, the signs on for my card mates and mid-round after that ace, everyone was pretty excited. I knew I was doing well there, but as far as where the tournament was at and where other players were on the lead card score-wise, I was never aware until hole 18 when I looked. That's a pretty tricky tee shot, and you can lay up if you're in a position to. So I looked to see what I needed to do there, and that was when I realized what was going on.
So when you get to the playoff, are you can you even believe it? I mean, your run out on the back nine was absolutely unbelievable. So you ace 10, and then you birdie 7 in a row to close out. And that's what that you had to play that insane in order to even get to this playoff. Did you feel like I'm destined to win now?
No, not at all. I mean, I know the quality of player that Dutch is. I've been playing with Dutch a long time, and I definitely knew that it was not over at that point. So, yeah, pretty wild too. I mean, just to think that that's what had to be done to get into that position. I'm still, beside myself thinking about it.
I mean, you were down 5 going into the round. What was the game plan? You know, you finished the round, you're looking at scores, you know what you know where you're at going into the finals round. What is your thought process in terms of goals? What your game plan was? What got you in this position?
I think I was definitely a little bummed to know that I was 5 back after the finish of the 4th round. And I knew that it was going to take something very special to be able to, catch Joe, to win, to, whatever. And I think BRP sets up to, to catch someone in a 5-stroke swing situation. So I just, like I said, one hole at a time, one shot at a time. And you can't get too far ahead of yourself in that situation. You can't just say, I'm going to go out there and shoot a 12 down. You got to believe that you can, but I didn't have any numbers in mind. I was just focused on the golf that needed to be played.
It was tremendous entertainment. You've played a long time. You played in a lot of majors, mostly MPO, of course, and recently some MP40 stuff. And although you've came close at Masters, this is your first ever major win, period, and only your 3rd time finishing inside the top 10. What does it mean? I know it's an age-protected major, but like this field was pretty legit. I mean, it doesn't feel like a cheap win or something like that. Like you're playing against some guys. I mean, Joe Revere in the ratings update just crossed 1040. So like these dudes are really good. What does it mean to you, like for your career, to win one, especially at such a prestigious, Worlds?
It means a great deal, honestly. Everyone always talks about the elusive first A-tier win, and it took me quite a while to get over that hump. And it turned out to be at a local event that was a first year for it being an A-tier. And for some reason, I was very excited to get that A-tier win, but for some reason that just didn't feel like a real A-tier win. It was kind of late in the season. It wasn't really, it was a strong field, but it wasn't your typical like middle of the summer, just heat of the tour A-tier win. I got my second A-tier win actually earlier this year down in Texas, in Live Oak, Texas, at a really fun A-tier with a much better field, I think. And that felt a little more like a real like A-tier win. But honestly, I don't know if I ever imagined being able to take down a major. And now that it's happened, it's pretty wild. The outpouring from friends and family. I'm still working through messages right now. It feels amazing, and to put the Oman name in the disc golf history books is really special.
Charlie alludes to this a little bit. What do you think is going to be, or what's the MP40 division going to be like over the next 5 years? Pre-COVID, we had guys, so many guys, yourself included, who were playing on tour and still play tour events. But Joe Revere, Kelly Visca, Jeremy Colling, you've got Michael Johansson, Nate Sexton, who you took second to at the U.S. Championship just recently. That list, those are guys that were winning on tour not that long ago. And now you're all competing in this MP40. Charlie says this tournament feels big. Where do you think the next 5 years are going to be and for this division?
I think it's going to be interesting. There are going to be, heavy hitters coming in every year, and they're going to want to compete at a high level. But I think, I don't know, I think there's a bit of uncertainty because at this age, people are in a different stage in their life and they're doing different things, families, jobs, like it's going to be interesting, but the level of players, the careers that have been forged over the years that are going to be coming into the MP40 division, I think it's going to keep things exciting, and yeah, like I said, the level of competition is still there. Like you said, Joe's 1040. I'm at my highest rating ever. Kale I've been playing with him for years. Just an incredible golfer, still able to put up top 20s in the DGPT. I think the MP40 division is going to be very exciting to watch. A lot of the golfers are already known, so a lot of the younger or just fans are going to be able to watch their favorite golfers still and see great battles.
It's been a lot of fun when we catch you on coverage. You have such a unique form. Obviously, many have talked about this. How did you develop your throwing style and make it work? It would not be in a textbook.
I think at a time when I was getting into the game, there wasn't a whole lot of YouTube, stuff coming out. I could still watch some videos and get an idea of, what was working for people that were having success. Will Schustrick comes to mind as far as form and just easy to, watch him throw and see where the power is coming from and what's working there. But I think it was just playing with people, listening to friends, and just making adjustments over time, watching myself on a phone video or something like that and just seeing what's going on in my rhythm. It's just a slow evolution of tweaking and figuring out what was working and what was causing me problems.
This is the first time I've ever gotten to meet you, and I know that your nickname is Tall Paul. I'm curious to know just how tall you actually are. I don't actually know.
I haven't been measured in a while, but the last I checked, I was 6'5".
6'5". Go ahead, please.
There's definitely a couple golfers out there that are taller than me. Germ, Gannon seems to be growing still. AB, Calvin, those guys are towering. They don't have tall nicknames for some reason, but I think Luke kind of hit me with that. Maybe
it's the swing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Right.
It's like wearing high heels.
Yes,
that's right. When you said that, going back to this tournament a little bit, you looked at the scores on 18. It's a tricky upshot or tricky drive. You wanted to know what you needed to do with that. You see where you're at. Did the nerves or the pressure change when you walked up to that final putt, or were you just? Go ahead. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it was. Probably within the 20 feet. And I've never been in that situation before. Like I said, I've only got 2 A-tier wins up to that point. So. Fans everywhere, BRPs just wild out there. And at that point, I know what the scores are, so I know what I have to do. But, I think you can definitely see there's some nerves in that putt, that final putt in regulation. And I was, very relieved when Dutch in the playoff, wasn't able to convert from the drop zone, because I don't know if I was going to be able to hit that, whatever I had 25 feet. For that birdie in the playoffs. So, yes, nerves were definitely in play. It was uncharted territory for me.
Sure. So we go to playoff. You watch Dutch pin as close as possible, hits the koozie. The disc is underneath the basket. You've got to match that. I think it was Nate Doss that said on the coverage that somebody shouted something as you were throwing as well.
Yeah, so there's a garage kind of behind the tee pad there. Like I said, there's just tons of spectators. BRP is always a wild spot. There's some libations inside being sold, so maybe those people inside just didn't know exactly what was going on outside. There was somebody got excited in there over something. I don't know. But yeah, kind of, go through my routine, pull my backswing back, and as I'm coming through, pretty good size yell. And I kind of remember it going through my mind like, oh, wow, that's really happening right now. And just, go through with the drive, and it ends up, being a great drive and keeping me in the playoff, thankfully.
Out of your hand, did you know it was going to be perfect? Were you a little nervous?
Not perfect, but I knew that it was going in the direction that I wanted it to. It was going to miss those trees that it needed to. And, I had no idea that I was going to be, a few feet from the pin. But
sure.
Like I said, I'm not the best putter, in the game, but in those situations, you don't want to have to take too lengthy of a putt. And Dutch has, already hit the koozie. So that was big time.
So I'm just looking at your upcoming schedule. You going over for Worlds?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was I was kind of a decision I made after Masters Worlds. Just it's kind of spendy to get over there, and it's kind of like I'm just going over for Worlds, so it was almost going to be like a little vacation mid-season. But yes, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they've got in store for us over there. Everyone's been hyping up Europe for years, so it's going to be my maiden voyage over the pond.
So you didn't know if you're going to go until like 2 days ago.
I had reservations. Yeah, I was kind of, some, like you said, you had to sit in an airport for 6 hours. I had some, some New Zealand travel woes, nothing that was out of the norm for a regular traveler, but just like, man, do I really want to hop on a plane right now?
Well, you got to after this, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And all the friends
paid
are over there.
Paid for.
So
$6,500 for the win.
Right.
Is that the most you've earned at a tournament? I would assume so.
100%. 100%. And somehow I got a little bit of ace money too. So I was pretty stoked on that.
Nice.
Yeah. I was going to ask if you paid into the ace pot.
I couldn't find the email to see if I did, but they said when you buy in, I think it was just like included in the entry fee maybe.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
Sure.
I'm happy for that.
$6,500 is a nice purse for a pro over a Masters Worlds. That's awesome.
I know. It's almost a little DGPT win money.
It is. I mean,
nice.
And to your point, when you went back and talking about like the future of the division, you talk about people having, careers, jobs, families. Yeah, absolutely. But if tournaments are going to pump out this kind of money, you can bet that the pro Masters are going to be a big deal. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, this, looking at tournaments and trying to find, something to put on the schedule, like this one with 140, almost 150 MP40 players, it was, definitely one of the biggest fields you're going to find in MP40. I don't think Solinsky was, maybe around 80 or something. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it definitely wasn't of that magnitude. But I think Nate still got $4,800 or something like that.
Yes, Nate got $4,800, and there were 60 players at 59. Yeah.
So not even half. So it's tough to find the big Masters fields that are going to hold those payouts like that. But they're still out there.
Yeah.
Definitely
148 players.
Fields.
All right. So you're number 2 in the, what do they call it? Global Master Series rank.
Yeah.
You're only like a couple points behind Joe Revere. Are you motivated to take number 1 on this now that you're right there?
Well, 100%. I was motivated last year, but Joe and Kale, they just play better than me.
Do you win something?
It's nice to have a couple hot rounds in there. I'm not sure what Kale got. I think Kale won last year. I thought maybe an obelisk was going to happen, but I thought somebody said he got something. I don't think it was an obelisk, but
it says trophies and special recognition on various PDGA media offerings.
Well,
That's
that
nice.
would be nice. I don't know what kind of a trophy they're talking about, but yeah, I think it's cool. I don't know. They added that maybe a few years ago, the Global Master Series, and it's interesting. I mean, I can play some MPO events and still
Gather points,
get those ratings on there. So yeah, 100%. I saw yesterday that I was number 2. I mean, I'm always motivated. I'm always thinking about, Kale's always up there at the top, and he's my homie. I'm like, I gotta beat him. I gotta get him, a hot round. But yeah, it's kind of more something that's fun to like look back at, like, oh, I shot that round. Oh, that's gonna go on the Global Master Series, more than like thinking about it before the round. Like, this has got to be hot, type of thing. But
what's your
fun little thing, to keep
what's your playing background? Like, you've been playing a long time. When did you start? And like, what has it been like kind of watching the sport grow over the course of your career?
Man, that's a loaded question. I got started casually, just like 2003, 2004, my state university there in Evansville, Indiana, put in a small course. And yeah, it was very organic. Just started to meet some of the club members, started to understand what the club was about, started to get a feel for PDGA membership and sanctioned events, and then just met friends that were willing to travel, were willing to let me hop in the car and travel with them. And then, yeah, I don't know, got linked up with Zoe, Andike, Dustin Keegan, Shasta Chris back in 2016 through Miles Parkhill with Paragon and Steve Dodge with Maple Hill, and did the, we were setting up the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the first year of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and just really took a liking to the road and playing events and, stringing them together and yeah, got sponsored, got support to be able to stay on the road, and just got, built a family out here and didn't want to leave them. Had to keep out here and play as much as possible.
I was just kind of clicking through your years and your seasons on your PDGA page.
Yeah.
In 2010, you played 35 MPO tournaments.
That grind life.
Mm-hmm. There might have been some, 2010. Oh, there might not have been too many flex starts back then. Yeah, I think that was one of the first years that I like started to get out on the road. I might have went to like the Memorial or something like that, really got away from home.
Yeah.
And when you make those big trips, you want to string them together with other events so that you're not just relying on one payout, So yeah, got the bug and just signed up for as many as I could.
So off to Worlds, you're going to Finland. I mean, we're expecting the biggest galleries that disc golf's ever seen. I mean, this is like a crowning moment for the sport in terms of, the post-COVID growth, like concentration in Europe. It's going to be incredible. What are you most looking forward to about that trip?
Just soaking it all in. I think, a lot of my friends have been going over there for years. I've been hearing about it. Just taking it all in and playing some golf, in a new country.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just enjoying it as much as possible.
Well, thank you so much for giving us some time. And thanks for putting together the sickest round of the season. I mean, from the chase card, that was absolutely wild.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Just one hole at a time, and it worked out.
How much more do you think you're going to be playing Pro Tour and like MPO majors?
I mean, the majors definitely hold more weight. It's a very, very competitive field right now. So I just try and weigh my options, weigh my percentages. If it's a course that I think I can compete on, I think the last year's Worlds was great. It was challenging. It was long, but it wasn't like something that was out of reach for everyone. Like like myself. You know, I've got some distance, but some of these courses are set up for that elite distance. So I don't know, just cherry pick and find places that suit me and that I can, you know, I'm not going to be eating ramen after I leave for the week because I didn't cash or something like that. But yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy the game as long as I can at the highest level that I can.
Awesome. Paul, thank you so much, and congrats once again.
Thank you, Charlie. Nice to meet you, Josh. Good talking with you. You guys
You
take
too.
care.
We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the Upshot. Thanks again to Paul for stopping by. You know what? Paul Oman just seems like one of those people you just love to hang out with.
Seriously.
It's just like great vibes. You get that. I get that feeling just watching him play. But super fun interview, and what a way to win a tournament, huh?
Yep. Yeah, it was really, really good. And boy, like it really, you know, Charlie, we talked about it. It feels like a big deal to win that. I don't know if I've ever really thought that to the level that I did this year. Because
I totally agree.
Congratulations, you know, good for you. That's a nice nice like feather in your cap. But boy, was I like, this is the real deal. Jeremy Colling was on tour last year. Like you beat Jeremy Colling. You deserve, among others, right? You deserve all the props in the world. And at $6,500 for the winner, you can't argue that it didn't have a good payout either. So congratulations to Paul. I also want to give kudos. I thought Terry Miller did a really nice job on the mic. We are critical when there are tough moments on air, and we feel like the commentators, at least I am especially, when I don't feel like commentary is, you know, really living up to the growth of DGN. And I thought Terry Miller did a really nice job with that tournament. The energy was right. It was a good balance. It was focused on the golf, but he let it speak. So wanted to give a quick shout out to Terry Miller for that event.
Yeah, he obviously just has the depth of knowledge of this player base that
he does.
Nobody has.
He does, absolutely. He's been watching these players for 3 decades.
3 decades.
Maybe not 3, 2 decades. 20 years? How long's Terry Miller been in this?
I don't know, but I don't think 3
Probably
decades.
not 3. 2, though?
It's not that
Couple
old.
decades? How long? I'm
I don't
curious
know.
to know when Terry Miller
15
started
years
coming.
probably would be my guess. We can call it 2 decades.
You think
I'm
he
good
only
with that.
started in 2010?
I don't know.
I don't either. 3 is not right. I apologize, Terry. Okay, hold on. I'm looking at his Instagram, and his bio says, I'm the disc golf guy. This is my video blog. I've been involved with disc golf for nearly 30 years.
All right.
That's what the bio says.
3 decades. Call it 3 decades.
That guy is synonymous with disc golf.
Crazy. All right. Picks. We haven't done Crokle picks either. We haven't talked Crokle picks, that is. Remember, we reset scores.
Crokle next week?
I'm sorry. I did not mean
PCS.
Crokle. I meant Discmania Challenge and then PCS.
Okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Discmania Challenge. Josh and I both had Cadence Burge. That was absolutely massive to have her.
Yep.
I picked up 6 points in MPO having Adam Hammis. There are lots of people who absolutely crushed it on the picks. On the FPO side, Miko, Tamisto, J-Braids, Joppa, and L all got the perfect podium, 37.5 points total. And how about the very impressive performance from Koisrus, 31 points for having Ezra, which was key, and Adam Hammis.
Yeah.
So crushing it in MPO. Josh and I just didn't do great in MPO. Then for PCS, the site's not updated yet.
We'll tell you our picks.
We just changed the... Yeah,
Yes.
we put our picks in the Discord, so we can throw our picks out there. Josh, you want to read them off for us?
Yeah. So, Charlie, you took Vinny, Nicholas, and Macbeth. Nicholas is just missing out. Vinny, where did Vinny finish?
He was tied for 11th as well. So
Okay, so no -1 on MPO. You had Evelina,
So
Annika
brutal.
Sten, and Letomaki.
I crushed it.
Crushed it on MPO.
I absolutely crushed it.
Absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, Letomaki at 5Xer finished tied for 4th, and then of course
Is she
Sten
still
in
a 5Xer
second,
with the
Evelina first.
update?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. I had Nicholas with Kyle Klein with, but I also had Lowry Lettinen. So I got some points for Lowry. And then I had Kristen Evelina and I had Ida Emily Nesse, who did finish inside the top 10. And so I got points there, but the Annika Sten pick over Kristen was killer.
As we speak, the site's getting updated. So FPO, there were 4 people who had perfect podium with Kristen, Evelina, and Sten. And that was Hot Dog, Ackle Cackle, Ike, and MJ. So congrats to them. Although I do think I actually ultimately will outscore them because getting the 5X on Letamaki is better than having Kristen at 3X points or at 1.25.
She gets 3 points when it is. Yep. Annika Sten is a 2Xer now though.
Right.
So I actually think that the perfect podium bonus might be worth more than the
that's fair. I didn't
than the 2 points.
You're right. You're right.
It is. The perfect podium bonus is worth it.
Is worth it.
Yeah.
And that's why we have that. So MPO is not quite updated yet as we were kind of transitioning over to the new point system after the mid-season update. But make sure you sign up for a subscription at discgolf.ultiraworld.com/subscribe, and you can start making picks. We've already got some really cool ideas for next year, like doing monthly resets on scores, trying to keep it a little bit easier to compete, and then like more prizes and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. You can go to discgolf.ultiraworld.com/upshot-picks to check out all the picks, the leaderboard, all that good stuff. Pursewatch, let's do it.
I've got Discmania Challenge up.
Okay, go.
Discmania Challenge, MPO comes in at $70,665 with Ezra Aderhold taking $12,500. Over on FPO, $29,525. Cadence Burge takes home $7,000. This tournament continues to deliver as an over $100,000 mark for a 3-day tournament. They are killing it. Shout out to TrueBank.
What was the MPO payout again? I'm just putting it in our spreadsheet.
$70,665.
665. Okay. 100,190. That is just below Portland Open,
which is a 4-day.
A 4-day and a plus.
Right. Listen, you can put presented by TrueBank at the end of any title if TrueBank's going to put money up like this. They earned it.
Now, I can't remember. So last year, remember this used to pay out equally, MPO and FPO at the top for the winner. Last year, they changed that, and it remains that way this year.
Right.
But this is minus 6% from last year.
Listen, I hear you. I'm not going to argue with a 6-figure payout for a 3-day tournament, though.
Yeah, and like where the sport is, like some of these top paying tournaments coming down slightly is not exactly a big surprise.
Yep.
All right, are we ready with PCS?
Sure are. $46,500 for MPO, $18,925 for FPO. Adam Hammes takes home a nice $8,500, and Evelina Salonen takes home $4,500.
Okay, and I don't really know what to comp that to. What was the payout from the last PCS Open? Maybe that's the best thing to do.
That
from
would be
2 years
2
ago.
years ago?
62671.
So where does that compare to 2 years ago?
Sorry, what was the MPO payout for this past year again?
$46,575.
575. Okay. Up 4.5%.
Okay.
And compared to the other, it's like slightly higher payout than Konopishte and Ale. Okay. But there's probably more players as the Americans start coming over.
Right. It's in other words,
comparable.
Right in line with where Europe is.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to do it for today's edition of the Upshot. Sorry for not being more communicative about our vacation week. People were wondering what the heck's going on, but we're back tomorrow. We are super excited. We're going to be, of course, getting ready for Krokol and making our picks on that. But we're also going to be joined by Matthias Vutt, who is one of the head folks over at the Estonian Disc Golf Festival. So we're going to start to learn a little bit more about that tournament and a lot of what's been going on over in Estonia with the big agreement with the PDGA and the multiple majors over the next few years leading up to a world championship. And we're going to have to talk about the conditions of the course, because that has already been a story. The Tallinn Song Festival, which is this is what this grounds where this course is used for, just happened, and they've had a ton of rain. And I mean, the course is torn up like mud city. They're laying down sod. There's videos of them like laying down sod from the last couple days. And I think everyone's going to have to cross their fingers that they're able to get this course playable, because it is pretty bad out there on some of those fairways. So we'll talk to Matthias about that and everything else that's going on, and Josh's trip to Estonia. It's all very exciting, and we're going to be rocking and rolling all this month, and get ready for daily rapid reacts from the majors starting next weekend. So off we go.
Gonna be fun. Getting exciting.
All right. That's going to do it for today's show. We'll be back with you tomorrow right here on The Upshot.